You are now listening to Our League podcast, made in London, distributed all over the world.
Episode 80, Our League podcast. I'm on offer the duo Eds. My co-host, my brother, my brethren, Ethan, isn't here today because he's tired from being at the Lake District with the missus. So, good weekend away from him. But we've got the podcast favorite guest, our main man, Anthony. Anthony, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Yeah, lovely to be back.
Been a while since. Have you had you this season? I don't think
I've done it this season.
No.
I said to Sarah earlier, I don't think I've done it this season, which I'm really upset about. I'm sorry, that's my fault.
No, to be fair, we've not really been too consistent this season again. Eve, just moved into a new house and all that type of stuff. I was finding new jobs and stuff like that. So next season, hopefully, we're back on it more consistently. But this is a all Arsenal episode. We are only talking Arsenal in this episode. So if you're not an Arsenal fan, please bear with us. All right, cool. So we just literally played about an hour ago versus Newcastle. I think that's the best place to start. You text me midway through the game. First half, I was so annoyed because we were so trash in the first half. Like, I'll let you go first, my man. What was your thoughts on the first half?
Do you know what? I just think that game encapsulated the whole season. In that was exactly what it's been like. Just the obsession. I think Gary Neville said it halfway through. He stole my thunder a little bit because it was what I was going to talk about tonight, and just what I feel has been wrong all season, really. Just the obsession with patterns of play and just the same patterns of play where the centre-backs are passing it across the line. It goes out to the right back, whether that be Timber or White. He lays it to Sesko, who lays it to Odegaard. Odegaard, then we rely on Odegaard to try and do something. And he's not done it all season at all. So it then goes back to the centre-backs and recycles and starts again. And there's just nobody taking any risks. No one takes a risk anymore. Trossard is, I feel, for me, is one of the worst players I've ever seen at Arsenal. But to be fair, he played really, really well today. He was the only one that looked like trying little flicks and trying to do something different he was today. And it's just, they're so consumed by these patterns of play. And it's like drilled into them.
Yeah.
And that's what it was first half. Second half, it opened up a little bit more. We seemed to be more on the front foot, and then wonderful goal by Declan Rice. He's got that, hasn't he? Now we know he has got that in his locker. I don't know if you saw the interview straight after the game. And
I did.
He looked very down. He looked very down, but he said, "I know I need to be scoring more," and he could do. When you can do things like that, just start taking shots. No one shoots in this team. Yeah. Nobody shoots.
Do you think they're scared of the repercussions? And it's not just an Arsenal problem. This is a football problem in general. I feel like people are because there's so much analytics put into place now. Yes. Like, for example, last season I went to watch Rafael Leao play football in San Siro, and he's like a breath of fresh air because it's like him and Doué for PSG. They just go out there and they look like they're playing football with a smile on their face. They're expressive, and it's kind of like they have that creative freedom to just try something and just be direct. Like Martinelli. Like when he first came, I loved him, right? I know a lot of people were giving him stick and giving the board stick because he only paid $3. I've never really cared about price tag. I just care if you're a good football player, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And he was so progressive, so direct when he first came. And now when you watch him play, Omri pointed it out a few Champions League nights ago, where we got the ball like in the final third just for him to play it back because he didn't want to take on his man. Like it just seems like we've lost creativity. Everyone's so systematic. Everyone's like scared of like the repercussions of losing the ball. And it's kind of taken the spark out of football and not to sound like an old head, but like football back then seemed way more creative and it seemed like we had more talented players, whereas now it just seems like more guys are required to be athletes. I don't know what you think of that.
100% agree. 100% agree. There's no one out there other than the two you mentioned, are probably Lamine Yamal. Maybe throw Nico Williams into that, who I'll get onto a bit later. There's no one. Martinelli. The thing about Martinelli is because he's a little bit quite chaotic, and the way he runs and all that, he looks like he's really going to do something when he gets the ball, and so he gets you excited. But he's sort of quite deceiving in the way where he never does anything. But he'll run with the ball, and he'll do a little flick, and then he'll just pass it back.
Yeah,
he'll just pass it back to the left back, he's forever going down dead ends. He'll go down the left and come back again and recycle it again. And I really do feel, and I've written this down, I really do feel that that's an area we need to strengthen in next season.
100%.
Martinelli. squad player, 100% squad player, but you can't rely on him. You know, we're talking about for Arsenal. We had wingers Lundberg and Perez. They've scored 20 goals a season. You know, our strikers, Kai Havertz is still our top goal scorer. He's been out for 3 months.
Yeah,
we need goals in other positions. And Martinelli's not going to get. If you get double figures out of Martinelli, you've been lucky. You know what I mean? So we need to strengthen there big time.
Do you think someone said it the other day? I can't remember what game it was. They said, could you see him as a striker?
I said it for a long time. When we had Havertz got injured, I said I wanted to put him through the middle because Odegaard was
because he is so fast. He's so fast.
Exactly. Odegaard suffered all season. He has been a major problem, Odegaard, this season. And I don't buy it. People saying I know the injury took its toll on him, but he weren't great before the injury. Something weren't right with him at the start of the season. Then he got injured, and apparently, I don't know if these rumours are true, he's been playing with painkilling injections, and he's got to have an operation in the summer, but he's not been right. And I thought, when Havertz got injured, I thought put Martinelli just through the middle and just give Odegaard the chance just to lay some balls in behind for someone to run onto. We haven't had anyone. Marino weren't going to run onto anything. And I quite liked Marino up front. I thought we'd done all right. But to give Odegaard that option where he can thread balls through, which is what he's good at, because he didn't have Saka to pass it to at the time. I just thought if Martinelli was through the middle, we might have created a little bit more. You know, games like, I don't know if you remember, the Nottingham Forest game away was one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. It drew 0-0. Just no creativity at all. It's been a major problem this season.
It has. All right, let's go on to the first topic. Can this be considered a good season? Champions League semi-final, second again. Can it be considered a good season or no?
Ultimately, no. I think. I think, to be honest, the previous 2 seasons, there's always been periods in the season where we've looked really good, and it's like, come on, we can go and do something now in the league. Well, the previous 2 seasons we've not done much in the cup competition, but previous 2 seasons I thought, you know, we've had spells where I don't remember last season we beat, I know they weren't the best teams, but we beat West Ham 6, and then we went away to Burnley, beat them 5, and then Sheffield United and beat them 6, and it was just, okay, there's something here. We were scoring goals. This season, that hasn't happened at all. There's not been. I know we beat Man City 5 at home, but then I think we went out to Newcastle in the cup the next week or something like that. There's never been a consistent 4, 5, 6 weeks where we thought, right, here we go. It's just been a real stop-start season. Mm-hmm. Injuries haven't helped, obviously, but everyone's had injuries. But when you get an injury to your best player in Saka, it's really going to affect you. And no, ultimately, I don't think it's been successful. And I think I don't think it's been a good season. I think you saw today from Arteta's interview after and Declan Rice's interview, just the way they were walking around the ground, doing their lap of honour, that they know they've missed an opportunity this year because, as Paul Merson said after, if someone said, I can't remember, it might be Redknapp, if they said to you at the start of the season, Man City are going to lose 9 games this season, you'd think, well, Arsenal are going to win the league, aren't they?
Yeah.
And we haven't. So it's not been great.
Who is to blame for Arsenal not getting over the line? Now, I want to say, I kind of think Edu leaving in the way that he did very abruptly, like, people don't talk about that, but he was he was the maestro. This is his and Arteta's team. He brought in Arteta. That's my guy. I'm gonna bring in Martinelli. I'm gonna do this guy. He did a really good job at Arsenal. That can't be underestimated. Arteta as well, maybe with the signings, not going for a striker again. Was that his decision? Was that the board's decision? I don't know. Injuries as well, stuff like that. Like, whose fault is it ultimately, do you think, that we never got over the line, really competed for silverware this year?
I don't think it falls on one person. Look, Saka was massive, but I think we was behind in the title race when he got injured. But it was huge, him missing that large chunk of the season because it affected other players around. Where that little trio of Odegaard, Saka, and Ben White or Timber are massive for Arsenal. You know, when they all make each other play better. And we
Gabriel getting injured late as well.
Gabriel getting injured towards the end. I think the league was gone by then, but you know, Champions League wise. Although Kiwior, to be fair to him, Kiwior's coming in.
Really well. I like him now.
But for some reason, it's affected Saliba a bit much. Gabriel not being there, not a mistake, Saliba. You know. I don't know. It's a combination of everything. You're right about Edu. but I think I was going to get onto it later, but I'll bring it up now. I think I saw you made a really good point in one of your shorts a little while ago, talking about if Ollie Watkins was going to be the man who we wanted to sign, bid for him on the 1st of January. We bid for him on 2 days before the transfer, or maybe the day of the transfer window closing. But I think there was, personally, I feel, and this leads on to the Gyökeres we had before we started. I think the Sesko, and this is not, I've not heard this rumor or anything, just the way I feel. I think Sesko is done. I think we've done Sesko.
Okay.
I think it got agreed. And they said to us, you can't have him in January, but you can have him in the summer for whatever this release clause is. I think there's some confusion about what the release clause is, because it's sort of it's different if he scores a certain amount of goals from or something like that. Because I don't see why we didn't go and sign anyone. There must have been a reason. Whether it's PSR, they thought, look, we're going to buy Sesko in the summer. We can't go and spend 60 million on Watkins now. Yeah. Because they bid for him the day Johan Joru, what's his name? Duran.
Duran. John Duran. Yeah.
Go to Saudi Arabia. So they was never going to sell the pair of them. So it was all part of a game to try and appease the fans. Say, no, look, we bid for Watkins, but we didn't get him. But I don't know. I just think something might be agreed with Leipzig to say, look, don't take him now in January. You can have him in the summer, and we couldn't afford to buy two. And for me personally, I know you mentioned that Gyökeres before. I would prefer Sesko just in terms of his age. I think he's a big lad. He's 6'4". He's quick and
athletic as hell. Athletic as hell.
And I think we could mould him into somebody that we want and we need, rather than Gyökeres, who's, listen, don't get me wrong, he scored 50 goals or 52 goals in 50 games. Unbelievable. Yeah. I think he's the player he is now, and that's it. You know what I mean? If he don't fit in, he don't fit in. Whereas Sesko, I think we can mould him into the player we need him to be, because he's still so young. And he's fast, he's big, he's strong. He's like Haaland, basically.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. I know he's not scored. I think he scored 20-odd goals this season. It's all right. But I think he's the man. And I think if I'm right, there was something happened in January. Like, it didn't make sense that we didn't go and sign anyone. So I just feel there must have been something that's been agreed for the summer.
Yeah, and you know what? Fair play, because like I said, I went to Sporting a few weeks ago. And my eyes were fixated on Victor Osimhen. That was the only guy, you know what I mean? And again, I'm sticking out, like, Portugal's a very diverse country, but where I was sitting, I was like the only black guy, London accent, so they know.
Really?
So they're like, what's your team? And I said, Arsenal's my team. So he said, you're here to watch Gyökeres. I said, yeah, 100%.
Oh, really?
And I'm just watching him the whole game, and the guy next to me, the Portuguese guy, said to me, what do you think? I said, I'm not rating him. And he said, really? Right. I said, and this is not saying he's not. This is me saying he's not saying he's not a good player. No, he could be a good player, but we need someone that's gonna fit into the. Like, for example, he likes to sling out onto the left a lot, right? But then that means you're taking up the space of Martinelli or whoever else is there, then it's gonna be a lot of effort for you to then get into the center of the pitch again to be able to either get your shot off or curve shot, and I've not really seen him do a lot of like finesse shot top bins. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of his shots of if you've got the attributes of a Kylian Mbappe, a Thierry Henry, then you can play on the left and then come into the middle. But he hasn't really got that, and also he likes the ball to feet a lot, right?
Right. Okay.
And that's not what we need. We don't need that. We don't need that.
Kai Havertz can do that.
Kai Havertz can do that. And like you was just saying, we need someone to make Odegaard's job easier, i.e. run past the last defender, and he's just going to fling the pass to you, because that's what Odegaard's really good at, right? So, and then, and when he's physically matched as well, and it's not just me saying this, because I said this, and then Julian Lescott and Rio Ferdinand said this a few weeks after, saying that they just don't see it. Like, yeah, he's a good player. They're not saying he's a bad player, but like in the Premier League, what is he getting away in the Liga Portugal? It won't happen in the Premier League. I just don't see it. And I know he scored a lot of goals. I know people are going to say we don't know what we're talking about. Okay, cool. Let another team pay 60-odd million for him, however much, 75 million for him, and he come to the Premier League. And I promise you, what he's getting away in Portugal, and the quality of players as well, it's only really 3 teams that have big money to spend. You got to think of the Premier League. Our 16th and 17th team are in a Europa League final. Let that sink in. It just but honestly, what other league does that? It just shows you the money in the Premier League. Like, if you're not a top tier, you're not. I'm so sorry. Like, even look at Haaland. He's had a dip this season. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need. I don't know, man. But now we're on the topic of strikers, right? You're saying Sesko, and I would love if we get Sesko, because I think, like you said, we can mold him into a great guy. My question for you is, why has me and you have been Arsenal fans our whole life? Me and you have been friends for 5 years. For 5 years, I've mentioned one name to you consistently, Victor Osimhen. Why has no one put in a bid in for him? What do you think it is? Because it can't be the goals. He's scoring goals for fun anywhere he goes. What do you think it is? Salary demands? What is it?
I don't know. Do you know what? There's no answer. I'm no answer. You're 100% right. Is he up? Is his contract up in the summer?
It's coming up soon. Yeah, he's on loan, but he's got, I think, maybe a year or two left.
So he's going to leave Napoli then, isn't he?
Yeah, Hunt. He has to.
He's got to leave. There was the whole thing about. Do you remember they did the like there was a racist thing, weren't there? They put a video out like dressed him up as something. Yeah. So he has to leave Napoli. I don't know why no one's took a punt on him. I think he'll end up in Saudi Arabia. I really do.
I don't hope that's not the case, man.
I hope it's not the case as well. Would you still sign him now?
100%, every day of the week. Every day of the week. He's been scoring goals for. You know, they did a stat. I'll try and get it up now. In it was like 300 games. Him, Isak, and Gyökeres have all played about the same amount of games, and he scored the same amount of goals in less time.
If we're talking about who would be our...
It would be Isak, but we're not going to get... Okay, so this is it here. In 301 games, Victor Osimhen has scored 173 goals. 362 games, Gyökeres scored 187. 351, Isak has scored 150. So he scored in damn near 60 games less. He scored 10 goals less than Gyökeres. And he's done it in the French league. He's done it in the German league. He's done it in Italy, and he's now done it in Turkey. And he has all the attributes. He can hold up the defender. He can make runs past the last defender. He's got an aerial threat as well. I just don't understand why. It must be maybe agent fees or salary is the only thing that's maybe putting off teams. But
I mean, is there any? Is he trouble? Is he trouble in the dressing room? Has there ever been any rumours that
I don't think he is. I don't think he is. No.
So, yeah, you're right. It's a strange one. No one's really took a gamble on him. I thought Chelsea might at one point last season.
Yeah.
It's a strange one, mate. It's a strange one. But like I just mentioned there, Isak would be the dream, but it's not happening. It is not happening. I mean, especially if they get Champions League, Newcastle. But for me, going on to transfers, I said this in February, that for me, and looking at people's release clauses as well, this is 150 mil, right, that we're going to spend. For me, what I think could win us the league. Zubimendi, which is virtually done, 50 mil. Sesko, which I've just said, is around between 50 and 60, I think, the release clause. And the final piece for me is Nico Williams on the left, which has got a release clause of 50 odd mil.
Yeah.
With Nick Williams on the left putting balls into Sesko and Saka on the right putting balls into Sesko. I just think that's what we need. It's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
And I think we're going with the league next year. And I know it's not that simple, but I really do think Zubimendi's sitting there breaking things up, giving it to Rice and Odegaard.
Yeah.
I'd give Partey another year. I don't know if I think you might want to. I need to in discussions now.
Yeah.
But I think he's been really good, Partey.
He's been really good this year, and he's been injury-free. Injury-free, which is the most important thing.
Yes, exactly. But for me, it's them free, and that's 150 mil. It's not, ridiculous money. If we can try and claw back a little bit from probably Zinchenko, maybe Jesus, people like Reece Nelson is still on the books. I think Reece Nelson's still on the books, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's on loan. If we can try and nick 50, 60 million back, then it's not that bad. We wound up about 100 mil net spend to go and win the league. And that's what we need to do. And Arteta said something really telling at the end of the interview after the game. They said about, you made your plans for the summer in terms of transfers. And he pointed up to the director's box and he said it's up to them to do the right thing upstairs now. So it must have been discussed. He's told them who he wants. Yeah. They've just got to go and do it.
Yeah. So what would be our best starting 11?
What, with the transfers?
With the transfers you've just said, what would be our best starting 11?
Obviously, Raya, I'm going to go. I know Ben White played really well today, and I think we have missed him a little bit, Ben White. But Timber has been
Timber's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal, man.
I couldn't drop Timber. So Timber, obviously Saliba, Gabriel, Miles Lewis, Skelly, man.
Oh, mate,
that boy. And I can't believe Neville said it in commentary that he's not been nominated for Young Player of the Year. I know he's only played.
But the media don't like him. That's why, innit? They don't like him. They're trying to make a villain out of him, aren't they?
I love that. Though he doesn't give about anything. Yeah. It summed it up when it was only, I don't know, when he'd only played a handful of the games when we played Tottenham at home. Yeah. And he was, he was giving it to the Tottenham fans when he come off. Yeah. Oh my God, the kid is unbelievable. We'll get Real Madrid, he was unbelievable. So you got to start Lewis Skelly. I feel a bit sorry for Calafiori because I like Calafiori, but he's going to be needed next season. He'll be because he come in and done well at centre back this afternoon. Yeah. So Calafiori, I'd still keep Kivior. I think Kivior's done well.
Well, you need a big squad. You need a big squad, don't you? Nowadays, you do.
I don't know if he'll stay. Now he's had a little taste of first team football. Well, he's played first team football before, but he might feel that he deserves to play every week, so he might leave. Yeah. And then I would have Zubimendi as the sitter. Rice and Odegaard, Williams, Sesko, Saka for me.
Yeah,
can win the league. Yeah, can win the league.
And I agree with you 100%. 100%. Yeah, I would exactly like that, buddy. And then our bench depth has been a real problem.
Yeah.
Right? It's been a real problem. So the fact that you've said that starting 11, that leaves, if we was to keep these guys, but then you got to remember some of these guys are on big salaries. Jesus, Havertz. Obviously we're not keeping Sterling. Like that was been abysmal this year. Nelly, who else? Partey, Calafiori, Ben White. Do some of them have to go in order to like make way? And maybe we bring in some cheaper salaries, but guys that can be similar. Because, for example, we've had games where we've had 2 goalies on the bench. That's just ridiculous.
I was just going to say that. They played Neto and that Setford on the bench in certain games. Yeah. We've had a lot of kids on the bench. And the kid, Odajai, whatever his name is, he come on against Ipswich the other week. Yeah. He's been on the bench for months. That was his debut against Ipswich. Yeah. Wanyeri, obviously, I think he'll play his part next season. He looked great. And then he's not used him that much lately, is he, Wayne? No. I don't know why. But people like Zinchenko, obviously Tierney's going, Zinchenko's going, Jorginho's going. They're probably all on big money.
Yeah.
Whether he signs other squad players other than the sort of 3 main positions we need to strengthen, whether he might sign squad players, I'm not sure.
I think we've got good kids coming through, man. I think I was just
going to say that, yeah. He's had some kids on the bench. This Henry Francis on the bench again today. Maybe. I mean, we've had such a good record coming through Haaland now that he may be reliant on that, and you can't blame him.
Yeah, because obviously we've got Neto on loan, but Setford looks like a good goalkeeper. And I don't know if there's talks of him going on loan, but I would really like to maybe him being the number 2 GK, because, like, again, that's just less money we have to spend on the books. And I don't know, man. Yeah, but I really think our squad depth was one of the things that really crushed us this season. And not just like... Go on.
Like going back to what you talked about with Guacares and Sesko. Sorry, I've jumped back a little bit. But this Berta, the new sporting director, apparently come in and loves Guacares, doesn't he? Apparently Guacares is his choice.
Yeah.
What they've seen, I don't know how much of these rumours are true, but I really hope it isn't. I really hope it is. Listen, if it's Guacares or no one, go and get him. But if we've got choice to go and get him or Sesko, for me, I mean, if there's any old conversation about Isak, then I would love him, but I can't see it.
Would you go for Watkins again?
No. Do you know what? If we could go and get him for 30 odd mil, I'd have him and Sesko. I'd have him as a backup striker, then try and get rid of Jesus, who I like Jesus. Everyone likes Jesus.
Injury prone, isn't it?
So injury prone. And, 1 minute he's playing left back, next minute he's right wing, then he's getting the ball off the goalkeeper. We need someone in the box.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but he's so enthusiastic in that. But it's not what we need. We want putting crosses in the box is not so in there. We need someone in there.
Yeah. 100%. A lot of the times, Arsenal past couple years and this year, not so much this year because we've had injuries, it's been said that we lack the mental fortitude to get over the line. Like I feel we kind of have like there's this phrase in sports of like players that are dogs. Like they go after it. They just see ball, get ball. There's nothing's gonna get in their way. I think Saka's got that killer mentality. I think Declan Rice has that killer mentality. Martin Lewis, Gabriel, Saliba's getting there, but I think Gabriel definitely. Other than that, those are the main guys that I think can take a game and like by the scruff of the neck. This is my time, and I'm gonna show you why I'm the guy. Like, do we lack more of those type of players? Do you? I think we do.
I think we've got a core. I think we've got a core of those players, but you sometimes you need a little bit more than that. I think you're exactly right. The players you've named. I think Odegaard hides. I think he hid against, or he froze. I don't know what the better phrase is, hiding or freezing. I'm not sure. But against Paris Saint-Germain at home, I mean, listen, the whole side did in the first half. It was embarrassing. But he just didn't. We relied on him so much, and he just didn't give us anything that night. That was a big night. That first 20 minutes against Paris Saint-Germain at home, I just felt we got taught an absolute lesson.
Yeah.
I think we got real brought down to earth after the two Real Madrid games. But yeah, you're right. There is those couple of players. You need more than that. You need more than that in the team. You need everyone to be on the same page. No one to hide. No one to freeze. I think we've got the right goalkeeper now. I think Raya.
I love Raya. I love him.
Oh, unbelievable. The save today he made. I liked it at the end as well when they all had there was a bit of a scuffle right at the end, and he was got really involved in that Raya. So it's just a few additions here and there. It's not a whole revamp like teams like Man United or Tottenham. We don't need that. We just need a couple of little players here and there to finish the jigsaw, really.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, buddy. Yeah, man. It's just like it got to a point with some weeks, like especially the last 2-3 weeks, I didn't even watch the games. If I'm being completely honest, I just watched the highlights because of that. It just kind of like it drained my soul. The fact that we got all the way here, Champions League, like that Real Madrid performance was like, I can't think of a better Champions League performance at Arsenal. 2006 was the last time. I think
Barcelona, the Jack Wilshere game, they call it the Jack Wilshere game.
Jack Wilshere game was a good game, but Thierry Henry at the Bernabeu was a phenomenal, and also Henry at San Siro as well versus Inter Milan against Zanetti, who by the way, for the younger generation, phenomenal defender. And Thierry Henry just made him look like he was a kid at a park. Like, do you know what I mean? So that was such a high, and there was such noise around that.
Do you think we peaked there?
We did. We did peak there. Yeah. I think we did. Yeah. And I think kind of maybe we should have had I think PSG maybe gave us a sense of humble pie. But then 100%. again injuries. Saka's still coming back from injury, so he's not all the way there. Like you said, we're relying on like Saka and Odegaard too much. So we kind of do need maybe, I don't know if Ethan can be the guy to compete with Saka on a week-in-week basis in training for minutes, but we definitely, to add to who we need, I think we definitely need another number 10 who's going to compete with Odegaard, and that Arteta could be like, you know what, I trust you to take Odegaard out there. Because that's the one thing I've noticed with Arteta as well. He doesn't really like rotating players. And as long as I've always said this to you, he hates making substitutes. He'll leave it to like the 70th minute when we should have done it maybe in the 55th or something. Yeah. So I think he needs another crop of players. And again, this links back to squad depth of guys that can truly compete. Like, do you know who I'd love to get if we got a Paqueta from West Ham? Someone like that would be phenomenal to come in. Now, I understand it'd be big salary, big transfer fee in that as well, because I know he signed a new deal not too long ago. But that's someone who I think, Brazilian as well. He knows the league. We've got a good Brazilian core, and he's a very creative player as well. I feel like with West Ham, like when he first came, he was really good. And obviously he's missing his main striker who's making the runs through the channels and stuff like that. I feel like someone like that could be a good addition to Arsenal team. But again, how much money are we going to... Yeah, I don't know.
He was close to City, wasn't it? It was done, the Man City deal. Do you remember then the whole betting thing? Which they're talking about lifetime bans for him for this betting... that the FA want it, or whoever it was will want a lifetime ban. So he's going to get a big ban. I think he'll get a 1 or 2 year ban.
Yeah, maybe 18 months or something like that.
So, I mean, he might be out of the question. But in terms of, you're right in terms of that's the type of player we need. Ethan might be able to do it next year, but you're right about it's so frustrating sometimes where in games it's crying out for a change, it's crying out for something different, and they just persist and persist and persist. And he don't like taking Odegaard off. He waits till the last 5 minutes to take him off, and when he's coming on, what can he do in 5 minutes?
What can he do?
But yeah, someone to push Odegaard. Yeah, you're right. Someone in that 10.
I don't know who it is right now because it literally just came to my mind right now. But we definitely need someone to push Odegaard, someone to push Saka. But knowing that Saka's the starter, like you said, Nico Williams, definitely would love to get him. The backline set, so that's good. We've got a good set backline, and then I think it's just added squad depth, to be honest with you. And but we also need to get some guys out. But also we've got contract renewals, and the thing is, Arteta's on the clock, the team's on the clock, because we've got some puppies that are going to become big dogs pretty soon. And they're going to looking around and thinking, hang on, I'm better than this. I need to be winning trophies. I'm talking about William Saliba, because we've a lot of Real Madrid rumours with William Saliba been popping up recently. And he's down to the last couple of years. And Real Madrid, they love to get guys on the free. And he's that level.
2 years left. Has he got 2 years left?
Saliba? 2 years left, yeah. And Saliba's that level. You know what I mean? And he's going to be thinking to himself, I'm that level. And obviously, he's got all his French teammates there, Mbappe, Camavinga, Tchouameni, so forth and so forth. So they're going to be in his ear, especially international big brother. You need to be coming. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Even a player like Saka, I'm hearing Rodrigo's not happy playing in the right because he wants to be playing on the left. Like Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? Like we're on the clock. We are on the clock. So we've definitely got to get about it, get on it, and
he needs to make additions. And do you know what? I hope we do. I hope we do it all early. I hate
I hate late transfers. I hate them.
Just do it early. Get it done. You know what we? Yeah. Everyone in the world knows what we need. Go and get it done early. People who have got release clauses, you haven't got to negotiate. Offer the release clause and get it done. Just get it done. Get them in. Get them signed. Get them on the pre-season tour wherever we're going this year. Because there's nothing worse is there watching Sky Sports lose on transfer deadline day, praying that, you know what I mean? Rumours that Benzema's on the flight coming to London. Like, remember that I've just seen Benzema on a plane, like Heathrow, every single year, every transfer window. But anyway.
All right, last question. And how long does Arteta have? Per Merson said he's got till January.
Did he?
That's what he said. He said post-game, he said he's got till January before people start hyping up now. And the thing is, when I asked this question, all my buddies say, Edwin, you're mad, you're crazy. People in the comments say to me, I don't know what I'm talking about. But people act like I don't want him to succeed. Like, what are you talking about? I'm an Arsenal fan through and through. But at the same time, how far can he take us? You know what I mean? But then the question is, who is going to be the guy to take us to the next...
Exactly. You're exactly right. Because, listen... I love him. I still love him. I still love him because if you go over there, the difference over there is unbelievable. What he's done with the club, not just what he's done with the fan base. The fan base, it's like a different place now. It's like a different place. It's all down to him. He's done 8th, 5th, 2nd. It obviously says progression. We've obviously stalled a little bit. I just think maybe a bit naivety in that first Premier League title when we went for it, when we lost it, when we was however many points clear, might have been a bit of naivety there. We had but that might have been the players as well. With Saka missed a penalty against West Ham, and then we had the nightmare against Southampton at home. That was a bit of naivety. January, is that what he said?
That's what Merson said. Merson said he's got till Jan.
Oh God, that's thrown me now. Listen, if we're in 6th or 7th in January, he's going to be under pressure.
Yeah.
I really feel if we go and sign these players in the summer, I think we could go win the league by 15 points. I really, really do. This may get clipped up and I might look a complete idiot next season, but I just really think if we go and get these players now, the core of the squad's there. We just need that little final piece in the jigsaw, and I think we can go and win it. I really, really do. But it's like we've had a season off this season. It really is. Certain players have had a season off. Saka's been missing for 3 months. Odegaard had however long out, and then he's just not played well this season. If they can all come back firing, I think we'll be all right next year. I really, really do.
I think we'll be all right as well.
Good.
All right, cool. Quick episode, all things Arsenal, episode 80, Our League podcast. I'm on offer the duo Eds with our favorite guest, my main man, Anthony. That's it. We've been out, people. Love.
You are now listening to Our League podcast, made in London, distributed all over the world.